With the stroke of a pen, US President Donald Trump froze nearly all US foreign aid for a period of 90 days. Trump says his administration will review whether the funding aligns with his America First agenda. Recipient countries are now waking up to a new reality as Washington withdraws its support, and experts say China has a chance to step in and fill the funding gap. Trump's decision is already reshaping geopolitics in Nepal. The low-income country heavily relies on foreign aid. China is the US's main geopolitical rival, and the foreign aid Trump froze was supposed to keep Beijing at bay in the South Asian country.
Is that the US is Nepal's largest bilateral partner in terms of aid, right? And I do not think China can match it dollar to dollar. But the US withdrawal from certain sectors, particularly education, I think these are sectors where China can fill the void. China is heavily invested in education inside Nepal, particularly primary education, through a couple of projects already. China has also started doing what, let's say, initially a lot of its programs were not oriented towards what we call softer, let's say, soft infrastructure or soft developments such as education, sanitation, drinking water, health.
China has already found ways to grow its influence in Nepal without trying to compete with the US in total dollars spent. Beijing has offered over 200 million US dollars as a loan for building the Pokhara International Airport, among other key infrastructure projects. In 2019, China and Nepal also upgraded their ties to a strategic partnership, marking a significant moment for Beijing, undercutting US influence in Kathmandu. The US has stepped up its effort in recent years to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing's strategic global infrastructure project. In 2017, the US aid agency Millennium Challenge Corporation, or MCC, had committed 500 million US dollars for development projects in Nepal. MCC funding for Nepal was supposed to counter China's growing influence in the region. Though MCC funding does not directly mention countering China, Nepal saw the funding as part of the US's Indo-Pacific strategy.
But does the US withdrawing create an opportunity for China to be able to expand its influence? Yes, it does. Because it becomes the case that there are very few providers of aid. There are very few actors who are willing to step in. And China, which has been an actor which has tried to take that role while also being quite circumspect in terms of the amount of monies it commits.
Now, Kathmandu fears Trump's aid freeze will severely delay key power grid and road building projects. This sudden pause in American assistance has many in Nepal's political circles looking elsewhere to fill the critical funding gap.
And the Chinese may say, hey, look, now all the criticism that was levied against us, say from India and the US, around how Chinese money leads to unsustainability, is not necessarily economically viable projects and things like that. All that criticism gets blunted because the Chinese say, hey, look, we're the biggest boys in the game, right? And you deal with us.
With the Trump administration saying it's putting America first by freezing foreign aid, it's opened a clear opportunity for China to position itself as Nepal's go-to partner for infrastructure and development. This shift could have huge geopolitical consequences, not just for Nepal, but also for the world. Aadil, Brar and Fuhua for TaiwanPlus.